Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video in SQL Server. Today we are going to learn about what is index in SQL Server. So just like in a book, you have an index to easily access the pages and topics in the book. There is a concept in SQL Server which is index that can be used to quickly identify rows in your table or a view. So basically we will define an index to speed up the query performance of a table or a view. Whenever you use a select statement with a particular column, if we have a specified any index value for the column, that then the SQL Server will easily fetch the rows based on the index value. So we can have a clustered index, non-clustered index, and unique index in SQL Server. So what is a clustered index? A clustered index will be physically stored in a table, which is the order that we have defined for the column, and it will be easily accessible for the user whenever they query a table. So these clustered index are basically created in a table at only once. So each table or a view can contains only one clustered index, and it can have a multiple non-clustered index. So whenever you create a table, if you haven't created any clustered index, the SQL Server itself creates a clustered index, that is the primary ID. So if you have a declared a unique ID column, which is a primary column, then SQL Server automatically creates a clustered index for you, and it will be accessed based on the index. So what is a non-clustered index? This is again a indexing method in SQL. So here this does not modifies the actual table. So the value based on the column that you have provided for the clustered index will be mapped with the address bar. So whenever you fetch a row from the table, the address value, which is a hexadecimal value, can be fetched, and based on the value it will filter the table and search in that. So rather than going with the table scan value, which is again comparing the each row for your result set, it will be easily to fetch the rows in your table. So what is a unique index? The unique index is useful for you to have only the unique values in the column which you have provided for the index. So it will enforce the data integrity by allowing only the unique values to be allowed in the column that you have provided for the index. So let us see some live examples for how to create a clustered index, how to create a non-clustered index and a unique index, and how we can use across the tables and views. So let us get into SSMS. So here I have connected inside my SSMS. I am currently under the training DB. So let me take a table for our example. Let us expand this table folder. Let me take this employees table. So let us select this table, the select statement. So when I execute this employee table has employee ID, name, department ID, and salary. So I have created this employee table with the primary key as a employee ID. So whenever you create a table with a primary key, the SQL Server automatically creates a clustered index for you. So for this, let me first create a table and show you. So you can see, let me give this as a demo table, and let me provide two columns, one ID column with a primary key and a name column, which is a character string column. Now when I create this table, now the command executed successfully. So let me refresh this tables folder. So now here our demo table. So let us select the table. So let me execute the select statement. You can see in this table we have an ID and a name column. So how we can see what are the index available for us in this table? In this table you can see there is a index folder for you. This index folder contains all the index which have associated with this table or a view. So here it shows there is a index available for me in this table, which is a clustered index. So let me click and open this. So this pop-up shows that for this table, demo table, there is a index which is a and the name which is an index type of clustered index, and there is a unique enabled for this index. So this is a unique clustered index which SQL Server itself created for me. So this is a default index that has been created by the SQL Server. So what if I need to create an index for myself? So let me select this employees table again. Here you can see I have a clustered index, unique clustered index for employee ID, because I have provided the employee ID as a primary key column. So I need, so there SQL allows only one clustered index in a table, but we can have multiple non-clustered index. So I am going to define a non-clustered index for this salary table, salary column. So to define a cluster, you need to put the create command, create non-clustered index, and then you need to provide the name for the non-clustered index. So basically the naming convention for the indexes are the capital IX followed by the table name which you are going to create the index. Let me give this employee table, and then you need to provide the name of the column which you are going to create the index. So let me provide salary column here, and you need to provide the on condition, on which table you are going to refer. I'm going to provide this employees table, and in this you need to give which column you are going to select. So let me provide the employees column here. So now when I execute this, you can see the command executed successfully. So I have created a non-clustered index for my employee table. To see this, let me expand this employees table. Under this you can see the index folder. Here it shows me the non-clustered index that I have created recently. So it shows the name of the index, and it is a non-unique index, and it is a non-clustered index. So I have created a non-clustered index for my employees table based on this salary column. So whenever I query a result, for an example, let me execute this first. Let me copy this and paste it here. So here I need to filter the employees whose salary are greater than 55,000 and less than 60,000. So let me provide the condition where salary is greater than 55,000 and also their salary less than 60,000. So now when I execute this, you can see it has fetched two records from this employees table. So whenever I execute this command, so now we have created a non-clustered index for the salary column. Before creating this, what exactly happens is whenever this query has been executed, the SQL Server checks the first row if it is greater than or 55,000 and the less than or equal to the 60,000 value, and it will be fetched one by one. The column will be scanned one by one. So this is the table scan value which is automatically happen when you execute this query. So what if I created a non-clustered index, then a unique value address will be noted for all these salary values. So whenever I give 55,000, then it will fetch the data based on the address. So it will first order the values, and then it will fetch only the rows which is between this 55,000 and the 60,000. So this is what happens when you create a non-clustered index for a column. So the performance of your query will be faster when it is a big table. So if it has a million and billion rows, then you can see the difference, how easily it fetches the rows based on your filter conditions. So here I have a primary key constraint, so it has created a clustered index for me automatically. So I need to create a clustered index for this salary column. So I don't need to have this clustered index for the employee ID. So what I need to do, first I need to drop this non-clustered index for this salary column, so I can create a clustered index for this salary column. So to drop a index, you need to provide drop index and the index name which you have created, and you need to provide the on condition. So you need to provide the table name in which you have created this non-clustered index. So let me provide this here. So let me execute this. So now the index has dropped successfully. Let's refresh this index folder. So now only the primary key is available for me. So now to drop this automatically generated index, you can just copy this name and paste it here. So now when I try to drop this, it shows an explicit drop index is not allowed on the index, it being a primary constraint enforcement. So rather than going with the code, you can just drop the index with the graphic view. You can just right click this and give delete. This will automatically deletes the index for you. So now the clustered index on the employee ID column has been dropped. So now we can create a clustered index for this salary column. So we can use the same code. We can just create a new one. You can give create clustered index, and the name for the index, which is ix, and the table which we are going to give, and along with the column name. So let me copy this, paste it here, and you need to provide the on condition on the employees and the column name employee salary. So now when I execute this, let me refresh this index folder again. Now under this index, you can see I have created a new index which is a clustered index in this table. Again, you can now select this table. You can see now the table is ordered based on the salary column. So clearly it shows, if at first it has ordered based on the employee ID because it is a primary column, and unique clustered index has been assigned for this employee ID. So now when I changed the clustered index to the salary column, it has ordered the table based on the ascending order of the salary. You can explicitly also provide the ordering condition for the salary. If you need to have a descending, then you need to specify the ordering condition for your index. So this is helpful for us to easily fetch the data. So as the table has been modified based on the index column, so it is easily fetch the values than the non-clustered index. So non-clustered index basically has the address of the value, then it fetches the data based on the address available for the column. But in the clustered index, you can see just the table has been modified based on the ordering position that you have provided for the index. So now when I execute this statement, it will even more fastly return the value for me. So whenever you have a table with a high complex and big data, then these indexes will highly helpful for you to fetch the data without any delay. So let us see what is a unique index in a SQL Server. When you create a table, you can give a unique constraint for a column. So basically a unique constraint is used to enforce the uniqueness in the column. So whenever you provide a unique constraint for a column, then you can only insert unique values inside the column. If you try to insert duplicates inside the column, then it throws an error. So whenever you create a unique constraint column, then SQL Server automatically creates a unique index for you, and you can also even create a unique index in the code itself. You just need to provide create unique index. Let me provide a unique index for the employee name. So you need to provide create unique index and a name for the index. So let me copy this, and here I am going to provide the index for this employee name column. So let me provide employee name here. This is the name of the index, and you need to provide the on condition and the table name, and you need to pass the column name. Now let me execute this. So here I have created a unique index. So now let me refresh this. You can see here the SQL Server has created a unique non-clustered index for me in this table. So we can have only one clustered index. So it has created a non-clustered index by default when I provided a unique constraint. So this is helpful for me to handle the data integrity in my table. So whenever I insert a duplicate values inside this employee name column, then that can be restricted by this unique constraint. So whenever you explicitly provide a constraint for the table, then automatically an index will be created for you. So let me show that. So here let us select this employee table. So now you can see, let me execute this. So this table contains 10 rows. I have an employee ID, name, salary, and the department ID. So for this, let me going to insert a unique constraint for this employee name. So I am going to provide the alter command, alter table, and the table name. I am going to alter add a constraint. So add constraint as unique constraint for the name. So let me provide the name here, and let me provide unique command, and after this I need to pass the column inside this. So let me pass the name column. So once I execute this, so now the unique constraint added successfully. Let me refresh this index. So here you can see the SQL Server automatically created a unique index, which is a non-clustered index for me. So rather than creating a unique index with a code, you can also create a unique index whenever you add a unique constraint for your column. So I hope you have understood how we can use index and what is the purpose of using indexes in SQL Server, and what is the difference between clustered index, non-clustered index, and unique index in SQL Server. So let me provide the GitHub link in the description. Please solve all the problems that I have provided in the GitHub. Please watch all the videos in the SQL Server playlist. Thank you for watching.